What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Mina Elias, aka the Egyptian Prescription. I'm here with the one and only Elizabeth Greene from Junglr. She is a killer Amazon PPC expert, and she's going to share a lot of information with us today. I brought her on because she manages a lot of accounts, she manages a lot of clients. She knows a lot of things. She's seen a lot of things in a lot of different accounts, and she's going to share all the information with us today and talk about strategy for PPC. So let's get started.
The bird doesn't sit on the branch because it trusts the branch, but because it trusts its wings to catch it. It's not about the branch. It's not about what I'm standing on, but it's about my wings, my abilities that are going to catch me. So if all of it goes away tomorrow, I can rebuild everything because I have those wings, I have those skills.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us. You want to give a little bit intro about yourself?
Yeah, hey, super happy to be here. So my name is Elizabeth Greene. I'm one of the co-founders of the agency called Junglr, which is junglr.com. Interested, come check us out. But yeah, just excited to be here, just nerd out on PPC. So my background is kind of, I guess you'd say, unique. Started out trying like retail arbitrage, doing a little bit of private label ourselves, and not like you did, not like full on business, but more like let's test thing out, which is not how you should get into trying to sell on Amazon. But it did get us aware of the space. When I say us, me and my husband, he's the one who co-founded. So the idea was always to do something that could allow us to stay together as a family unit, because we have quite a few kids. And we like the idea of the family being together. And so try that with private label. I think we about broke even. Life got in the way, that kind of wound down, had a couple more kids, and then started it up with the Amazon ad side, because it turns out that I really enjoy spreadsheets, which is kind of a must in this line of work. So delve into it head first and then just haven't looked back.
Amazing. And guys, I'm going to share like right here a video that Elizabeth does on bulk sheets. So her YouTube channel is insane. It has a lot of, I talk about bulk sheets. I don't understand how people can optimize things in the campaign manager and not on bulk sheets. And so Elizabeth does a ton of that. I know I get a lot of requests to do bulk sheets. I haven't gotten to it yet, but Elizabeth has, and she has a ton of videos. So make sure to check them out. Okay, cool. So let's talk about Amazon strategy for a brand. So you're coming in, someone is selling on Amazon. What's the first thing that you're looking at when you're auditing the account? And then what's kind of like, you audit the account, you take a look at everything. What's the step-by-step stuff that we're gonna do from there?
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to take a look at the conversion rates, the cost per click, and like kind of what's being targeted, how well it's converting. I think that's super, super important. If you have an account that's already running, great. We definitely want to build off of what's there. I honestly see no reason to completely burn it down and start fresh. If something's working, my opinion, if it's working, it's working. Even if the structure is a little bit messed up, that's something you can fix. I'm not a huge fan of going in, burning down an account and starting. That's where you get some really wild swings in the beginning. I think you can definitely mitigate a lot of that just by going in and optimizing what's there. So our first line of things is going to see what needs to be optimized. Huge pain points are going to be lots of clicks with no sale keywords. That's something we check out. Do you have a bunch of keywords that are running over 100% ACoS with like 1 to 2 sales? It doesn't have a huge impact on sales in the account, but it has a huge impact on the spend. That we can clear out the waste. So we're basically in the beginning looking for waste. We want to clear out the waste. We want to maximize what's there. So if you do have keywords that are running great, are they crowded out by a bunch of other keywords? Do we need to isolate some things? Do we need to move some stuff around? Kind of maximizing what's there. And then once we like clear out the waste, get everything rolling, then we're like, okay, so where are the holes in the account? What needs to be built up? And then we kind of go out from there. So it's a couple step process. I'm a huge fan of doing that over a couple week period. Reason being is I like to be able to identify what we've done that's worked. If you go in and you're not sure how to work on an account, at this point, I think I could be pretty confident if I come in and do a lot of changes all at once. I know what I'm doing, so I wouldn't be too freaked out. But if you're going into account, you're like, I need to fix this, and you just blow up a whole bunch of stuff. Oftentimes you end up with just all kinds of things are happening and you don't know what's what, you don't know what change caused something, and I mean, you can get back, but it can be difficult sometimes.
I love this because that's exactly like almost exactly the same way that we look at things. Like that's how we audit. I always say like if it's working, never turn it off, because I don't want to be the one responsible for turning off a bunch of things that's working because I have like a better structure. And then next thing you know is like, hey, my sales just crashed. Like, what did you do? And so I never want to be in that position. So I love that you mentioned that. And I also love that you remove the waste first, because that's like easy, right? If you can start from a fresh slate. If you just cut all the waste, like what are all the keywords that are there? Like you have a campaign with 150 keywords, but essentially 10 or 15 are running, and then you have 140 that are not doing anything. And so that's like, hey, you think you're actually running a bunch of ads, but you're not. So that's awesome. So how do you track the different changes that occur week on week in an account? Do you have some sort of system where you say, okay, this week we're going to focus on identifying like new opportunities for the account, and that, and how do you track that to see that that's working? Or you say this week we're going to focus on cutting the waste. We see that there's a little bit of fat and we want to kind of trim the fat. So how do you look at that and track it?
Yeah, so we have a weekly cadence for everything. Meaning like, okay, so Mondays we're gonna go in and like pull everything and kind of analyze and see what happened over the weekend and what happened. To be perfectly frank, if I have like a huge launch I'm doing that we did on Friday evening, probably still gonna check that on the weekend, even though I probably should keep off. But I think we need some time for data to accumulate. So that's also a good way to look at it. So, Monday morning we come in, we use ClickUp for our project management. And so it's like, all right, Mondays, everybody's got a task. We're checking every single account, the entire account, what happened, what are our trends. Like that's kind of like our analyzing day to like figure it out. It's also the day that we pull the search term reports. So we have someone go through every single search term report, gets pulled and archived weekly, regardless if we're building on that. We just like to have those archived. So we do have like all the reports we pull weekly. Again, regardless if it makes sense to build up those search terms this week, I think it always makes sense to like have those somewhere to go back and reference if you need them. So we kind of have that cadence analyzing. Then we do go through and optimize bids a couple times a week. I have a kind of a system that I've worked out. So a lot of my systems are built off of like pros and cons of doing things, and then what's the best way to navigate those pros and cons. So what I've come up with as far as bid adjustments is looking at shorter timeframes and then also looking at longer timeframes, because if you look at shorter timeframes, the benefit of doing that is you find out what's happening in the account now. Sometimes if you look at a longer time frame, you're like, oh, this keyword's great. And in the last 7 days, it literally got like 50 clicks, no sales. But because you're looking at a long time frame, you miss that. The drawbacks to doing that is sometimes you can have like those slow bleeder keywords that if you look at a longer time period, they're just not working. But you're only looking at short time frames. So you're like, oh, it only got 5 clicks. Now let's look out like 30, 60 days. We got 35 clicks and no sales. So what we do is we actually rotate which timeframes we're looking at a couple times a week to be able to catch both of those. So we do bid adjustments, those are on like a weekly cadence. It is up to the discretion of the account manager. There's some times where you go in and you're like, oh no, what happened? And I still believe in, if you are in the ad console and you see something, you should just fix it right there. So there are times when I'm like just manually in the accounts. I don't think I'll ever get away from Campaign Manager, regardless how amazing the software gets, because I don't know, just something about that. It feels like you're actually knee deep in the account versus like one layer removed. So there are certain times you're like, oh, this should have been added as a negative keyword. Oh, this bid should be tweaked. There are some campaigns where I'm like, this keyword is very important. I'm just not actually going to get so much like control of this that I want to do this manually. I'm not saying you have to do that, but if you're like really in the account, I see no reason why you wouldn't fully want to step away from manual adjustments if you see it. So that's, kind of our cadence. And then it depends on how the account's doing. So if we see in the account, like, hey, the ACoS is great, everything's great. Okay, so then let's look at scaling. If we're really struggling with the ACoS rising, just the spend has gotten a little bit too high, so we need to clear things out. We're not going to go in and launch a whole bunch of campaigns that week because that just doesn't make sense. So I think you should have a level of, again, manual observations on the accounts to say, hey, this account needs this and diagnose it. But then we do kind of have the like our weekly cadence. And then again, it's kind of up to the discretion of whoever is in the account to identify what that account needs, and then make sure we hyper focus on that week.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, I love that because you have a system, and I think systems are like what make things, predictable, and you're taking actions consistently, and you're keeping track of everything. So, if we wanted to, take it a step back and say, right now, I'm managing an account or I'm managing my brand or whatever. What are, like, let's say, three things that I can do right now to either, like, cut down on some unnecessary cost or improve the profits? If I wanted to kind of test it out, test a few things out, see if I can do that. Maybe later on build a system, or later on hire someone to do it. So what are three things I can do right now to improve overall profits, either with cutting down, some of the spend, or increasing some of the profitable sales?
Mm-hmm. So my favorite thing ever that Amazon recently released is the targeting tab. I think it's awesome. It's amazing. There are tools out there that had this view, of course, like being able to see the entirety of all of your keywords across your entire account. So if you haven't checked it out, I totally suggest you do. You would go into Campaign Manager, go at the top where it says targeting, click on that. You will see all of your keywords across your entire account, with the exception of sponsored brands is not included. But most accounts are primarily running sponsored products, so you should be good. So what you can actually do is you can look at lifetime. So that's the cool thing. So even if you get into a software, there's only so much data they can pull. So unless they've had your account since the very beginning, you're not even going to be able to get this much data in your account. So if you go to targeting, you can look at lifetime, which I want to say is like a couple years out. So you can look at like all time what's going on in your account, and you can actually use filters as well. So you can go through and you can filter 0 sales, lifetime, sort by clicks. For some reason, sorting by spend doesn't work. I don't know why, but you can sort by clicks and just see what has the highest amount of clicks. And then that's just going to show you what in my account has never converted for me across all time. That's going to be a huge way to clear a whole bunch of waste in your account. I can guarantee you're going to look at that and go, oh my gosh, why has this not been taken care of in the account? So that's going to be like a really good way to, kind of see what's going on. Another way, which would get more technical, but oftentimes people who are launching like a bunch of autos, they don't realize that the current defaults in the automatic campaigns are dynamic up and down. If someone's not aware of that, if they didn't catch that, it's very, very easy to have a whole bunch of autos up that are dynamic up and down. Those ones often don't perform very well. So you can actually, the easiest way to identify those, honestly, is going to be a bulk file. You could click into every single auto if you wanted to. It's quite tedious. You can just use filters to find them. You don't even have to worry about bulk updates or anything. But I would recommend going through a bulk file. I like to just identify what my bidding strategies are, see where the dynamic up and down ones are, and then are they working? Sometimes they're working just fine. And although I'm not a huge fan of a dynamic up and down, my theory is always, if it's working, it's working. You don't need to burn it down. But oftentimes those ones just aren't performing very well. So you might want to think about switching the bidding strategy. So thinking about looking at waste. Another one is going to be placement percentages. There's a lot of people who initially set these. They just set them up once. They don't go back and recheck. Again, bulk files are kind of the easiest way to find those quickly, because you can just go to the column. You can sort by everything that's greater than 0. If you don't have percentage adjustments in your account, don't worry about it. But those often are like a huge chunk of waste in accounts that people just don't even realize that are kind of just spinning there. So oftentimes you can clear out quite a bit in accounts if you go check those.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty awesome. I love that, because those are like some very, very simple ways. I think that like doesn't take any time, right? The lifetime one, it really won't take time. If you just like right click, open your different campaigns, look at the targeting, and I love it. It's like, what has never spent money? It's probably, and I bet you 99% of the time it's the emotional keywords. It's the ones that are like, I should be converting for this. Like, I have an electrolyte powder, I should be converting for electrolyte powder. I have a sugar free, I should be converting. And it's like, what we think and what actually happens is two different things. And so I love that, and I love that. I really agree with the up and down. I've never seen the up and down. I know that the up and down just spends more. Like, that's the only thing that I've seen it do. I haven't ever seen the up and down perform better. I'll usually put up and down if I want to kind of like spend more because I'm just launching a campaign and we have like $1,000 a day kind of target for that product. But other than that, it's like, give me the down bid only. Like, let's get the be more cautious and more profitable. So, all right, love it. Thank you so much for the amazing tips. Where can people find you? I'm definitely gonna link everything. I know Elizabeth's YouTube channel is linked over here, but where can people find you if they want to ask you some more questions?
Yeah. So if you want to just snoop my brain on PPC or like, what am I thinking about? Any tips? I would definitely recommend going and follow me on LinkedIn. I've been posting the most content over there. And then if you want to just check us out, see what we're about, possibly work with us, the best place is going to be our website, which is Junglr, JUNGLR.com. Form at the bottom. You can fill that out. I'm still doing the intake on those, so you'll get in touch with me and we can talk.
Awesome. Take it easy, guys.